There's something deeply wrong with the way Fox News skews reality to suit its agenda. The news part of Fox News is suspect, and the sheer level of toxic scandals the network has been plagued by for the past few decades attests to that. Here are some of the biggest scandals to hit Fox News. Bias is human. However, journalistic standards demand a certain level of objectivity regarding facts. If you're a news anchor, your opinion on any politician and/or organization must take a back seat to the objective reality regarding whether they are corrupt, authoritarian, or just plain sleazy. Fox News generally doesn't play by those rules. Instead, the network chooses its conclusion and either cherry-picks information or outright lies to get there, creating a conservative echo chamber that has deepened polarization across the U.S., as explained by The Guardian. Over the years, Fox's irresponsible promotion of inaccuracies and constant pro-GOP flag-waving have fueled many baseless theories and misconceptions, while making the network itself increasingly powerful. As David Frum, former speechwriter for George W. Bush, once said, "Republicans originally thought that Fox worked for us, and now we're discovering we work for Fox." This problem has worsened in recent years, as seen by the relationship that President Trump has with the daytime show Fox and Friends. Regardless of what anyone thinks about Trump or Fox, the fact is that it's unprofessional how Fox and Friends works tirelessly to rewrite factual narratives to better suit the president's needs, knowing that he's watching, and purposefully giving him talking points to try to deflect current scandals, as The New Yorker assessed.
Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. President. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Politics aside, the toxic culture inside Fox News headquarters, particularly in regard to the treatment of women, is well documented. And as is so often the case, the problem started at the top. Roger Ailes, the now deceased CEO, had numerous harassment allegations against him from women at the network, according to Fox. This misconduct continued unabated for years, but eventually boiled over into both a federal investigation and Ailes himself being removed from the network he founded, according to the Los Angeles Times. These events were later adapted into the 2019 film Bombshell.
Ask yourself what would scare my grandmother or piss off my grandfather, and that's a Fox story.
Then there's Bill O'Reilly, whose own history of harassment, involving a $32 million settlement, wasn't enough to get Fox News to can him, until the whole thing became so publicized that advertisers were pulling out left and right. By the way, this wasn't the first scandal involving O'Reilly. Some years prior, during O'Reilly's tense custody trial with his ex-wife, Gawker reported that O'Reilly's teenage daughter said she had witnessed her father choking her mother, and that he had, quote, dragged her down the stairs by her neck. Fox News has a long history of racism, both on-screen and off, and has racked up a long list of legal cases to prove it. One example? In 2017, the New York Times reported that 11 Fox News employees were suing the network for racial discrimination. Company comptroller Judith Slater was alleged to have mocked the way that black employees pronounced words. And following Trump's controversial travel ban, evidently asked them, "Who is going to Africa?" On screen, of course, Fox's history of racism is a matter of public record. In 2019, Free Press called out Tucker Carlson for wrongfully claiming, "There aren't that many hate crimes occurring in the country." This was a blatant lie, considering hate crimes have actually been on the rise, according to the FBI. In 2020, the Anti-Defamation League wrote an open letter to Fox News demanding that the network stop using anti-Semitic stereotypes, after repeated instances of the network stirring up anti-Jewish resentment in its coverage against Bernie Sanders, Michael Bloomberg, and George Soros. Meanwhile, Fox has continually defended police brutality against people of color, gaslighted viewers regarding slavery and Jim Crow laws, and planted numerous false allegations and stereotypes against Latinx Americans, immigrants, Asian Americans, the indigenous community, LGBTQ+ individuals, and more. Climate change is real, as are the dangers posed by COVID-19. Fox News, though, has violently contradicted the science regarding both of these realities, with deadly results.
Because of climate change. That's how
so
the
much
world
of
would
this
be
you
different
don't
if it
know.
weren't for humans.
You pretend that you know, but you don't know.
As far as climate change, there's a 97% consensus among scientists regarding humankind's role in the climate horrors being wrought. Nonetheless, as The Guardian points out, Fox News has gone out of its way to disproportionately interview skeptical experts on screen, or to give airtime to non-experts bankrolled by fossil fuel corporations. In 2019, Public Citizen tracked that 87% of Fox News' climate coverage was devoted to climate denialism, putting out long-debunked conspiracy theories even as literal catastrophes ravaged the globe. The same is true of COVID-19. In early 2020, The Guardian reported that Fox News aggressively downplayed the threat posed by the novel coronavirus, putting out misleading and/or false information, comparing it to a bad cold, and other lies which likely played a huge role in the U.S.'s largely failed response to the pandemic. In fact, a University of Chicago study cited by NPR looked at Fox News viewers and found a direct link between those who watched Sean Hannity's program, which went out of its way to downplay the threat, and increased COVID-19 cases. By April 2020, Fox News' efforts to label COVID-19 a hoax resulted in a lawsuit, according to Forbes. Back in 2013, a religious scholar named Reza wrote a book titled Zealot: The Life and Times of Jesus of Nazareth, an account of what factors might have shaped the historical Jesus Christ. To promote the book, Aslan did an interview on Fox News, where host Lauren Green interrogated Aslan with startlingly ignorant questions like, "You're a Muslim, so why did you write a book about the founder of Christianity?" She even accused him of hiding his Islamic background. Aslan responded, repeatedly, that he wrote a book as an academic who had built his career studying religions, and who just happens to be Muslim.
It still begs the question, why would you be interested in the founder of Christianity?
Because it's my job as an academic. I am a professor of religion.
Not surprisingly, this debacle was pronounced by BuzzFeed as, quote, the most embarrassing interview Fox News has ever done, but it did help promote Aslan's book. Behind the scenes, Fox News hosts plenty of weird soap operas. One particularly messy spat went public in 2010, when Fox chairman Rupert Murdoch's son-in-law, Matthew Freud, told the New York Times that he was ashamed of being connected to his father-in-law's news network, stating, "I am by no means alone within the family or the company in being ashamed and sickened by Roger Ailes' horrendous and sustained disregard of the journalistic standards that News Corporation, its founder, and every other global media business aspires to." Ouch. Following this pointed statement, Elizabeth, Murdoch's daughter, told The Guardian that her husband had gone rogue with his comment, but it's worth noting that, surprisingly enough, Elizabeth was also a Barack Obama supporter. Murdoch's company, for its part, issued a cold statement saying Freud's views had nothing to do with Murdoch's. This wouldn't be the end of the Fox family drama, however. In 2019, the mogul's own son, James Murdoch, told Vanity Fair that he thought his father's network was destroying what he called the connective tissue of society, and expressed interest in funding his own liberal media outlet to compete with Fox. For the record, James donated to the Pete Buttigieg presidential campaign. Arguably, one of the worst impacts that Fox News has on society is the network's continual mainstreaming of fringe conspiracy theories. There was birtherism, the bizarre and racist argument that Barack Obama was born outside of the United States, a theory that probably never would have gained anywhere near as much traction if it hadn't been broadly publicized by Fox News, according to Media Matters. Then there's the Seth Rich nonsense, explained by Vox, wherein the tragic shooting of a young Democratic National Committee staffer led Fox News to make baseless accusations blaming the Clintons. Fox News also advanced Sarah Palin's claim that the Affordable Care Act would result in, quote, death panels, even while other conservatives were referring to her comments as irresponsible and crazy. More recently, Fox devoted a staggering amount of airtime to Obamagate, a conspiracy theory so muddled that even ardent followers can't coherently describe what it is, but which mainly functioned as a convenient pivot from Fox's handling of COVID-19. According to an archived TV Newser article, Fox News bought full-page advertisements in the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post, and the New York Post, with a photograph from a Tea Party protest that had taken place several days earlier on September 12, 2009. This advertisement, displaying a large crowd protesting big government, was headlined by the caption, "How did ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, and CNN miss this story?" To be clear, yes, the 9/12 protest happened. Fox didn't make it up. What they did lie about was their claim that other networks didn't cover it, since all of them did exactly that. So what Fox News was doing here, with a clear bias toward the Tea Party, was deceiving their base in order to create an us or them narrative, by falsely claiming a huge and important event had happened and major networks had tried to brush it under the radar. Naturally, the news networks in question quickly clarified that Fox was lying. Leaked email stories are perhaps the most common recurring scandal type of the 21st century, and Fox News had its own email gate back in 2010, according to Media Matters, when private messages from the network's managing editor and VP Bill Sammon were made public, revealing just how intentionally Sammon wanted to slant the news. To summarize, the emails showed that Sammon was aggressively ordering the staff to take a hard right on the issue of healthcare reform through subversive tactics, such as referring to the public option as a government option, to play into the Tea Party resentment and scare people away from it. The propaganda didn't stop there. Other emails, as reported by the Benton Institute, showed Sammon was trying to damage then-Senator Barack Obama by highlighting a past relationship with a white woman, basically to inflame racist viewers and to equate Obama's political views with Marxism. Sammon's emails also showed him urging staffers to employ climate change denialism, according to Politico, arguing that climate science had been called into question and saying, "It is not our place as journalists to assert such notions as facts, especially as this debate intensifies." Despite this scandal, Sammon is still with the network. Sean Hannity is another Fox News celebrity who is seemingly always involved in scandals, whether due to outright deceptions or his publicly advising a president with whom he has private dinners. 2018, though, was a particularly bad year for Hannity, largely thanks to his questionable choice of lawyer. As the New York Times reported, it was in a Manhattan courtroom where the world learned that Hannity was a client of the now infamous Trump lawyer Michael Cohen, a fact which Hannity desperately tried to deny, arguing he'd never paid Cohen for his services. It might be difficult to convince people that you're providing unbiased commentary on impeachment scandals when you share a lawyer with the president.
I've said many times, if he cured cancer, they would likely want to impeach him for curing cancer.
The incident led The Guardian to unearth a mountain of public records showing that Hannity possessed a secret real estate empire, with the Fox News host linked to a number of shell companies owning over 870 homes in 7 states, ranging from mansions to low-income housing. Many of these properties were purchased at a low rate in 2013 because banks had foreclosed on their previous owners for mortgage defaults. This is ironic, since his show had, at the time, been slamming the Obama administration for allowing so many homes to foreclose, while Hannity himself had been buying said homes up with shell companies and getting legal advice from Michael Cohen. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more grunge videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.